Hey everybody, thanks for joining me here at PowerModz. Now I said I wasn't going to build another sled until the spring, but you know what? Opportunities happen, and well, that's just the way I roll because I want to build a Rev. So I bought this Rev, as you saw in another video. It has 36,000 kilometers on it. It's a tired old machine, but most of that stuff is going to come off. All the parts from the 700 mod sled are going to go on here. So it's going to be a 700 Rev, and our mission today is to tear this thing down. I have 3 hours to do it. I got to get it done. This is where it all starts. Seems that they put their own little homemade beaver tail delete kit on here. Welded up some goofy looking brackets. It used to come right down and attach up to the rear end here. So we're going to have to pop that off in order to get this cover off. Wait, or maybe not. Oh, there we go. Aha. Make sure you use a box, put all your nuts and bolts in there so you don't lose anything, and you know you have them when you need to put it back together. Sometimes I end up with bolts left over, sometimes I don't have enough. I don't know how it happens, but it just does. This has been off recently because that has happened. So somebody replaced this just before they tried to sell it to me. Check this out. A little bit of play in there. All these steering components are completely worn out. Gonna have to replace everything in here. I don't want any of this stuff coming apart on me on the trail. Having fun. Could be dangerous. That's a dangerous machine. Afraid to look in here. It took a pretty hard impact in the front, so I'm not sure if that nun's going to be bent or what we're going to find. So I see one of those shocks has a big bend in the shaft. Hopefully that took most of the beating. Next, pull this battery out. Not going to be needing this anymore. I don't have a socket big enough for this, and it was a little tight. I'm just doing this. There we go. Now to remove this little choke lever, you don't have to pop the pin out of it. You just turn it up all the way. Do one of these. Slip it over. Now to get it out of the housing up here, all you do is you just push it down, turn it sideways, do one of those. Make sure you put these parts back together because they are easy to lose. Pop this brake line off. I've got that extension that comes on my 700 ZX chassis. It's going to work out well. I like to ditch all the weight, but I like that big bright bulb on there. So a good thing to do when you're taking this all apart is to just pull out your iPhone or camera, snap a picture, just to see the routing of all these wires, where everything has to go, because you know what, when you got to put all those back together, you'll be doing it the wrong way, guaranteed. So I'm using this camera here. You can come back, check out this video too, but this way I get to see where all these brake lines, all these wires are routed. That's very important. Now some shop manuals have the routing. Polaris are really good for it in all their manuals. They show you exactly where everything has to go. Skidoo, sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. You know, one thing I will say about this Rev chassis, A lot of guys like them. I've never really driven them much. I'm a little old school. It's going to be nice to have the rider forward style. A lot of guys actually like this. They do the same engine conversion. They put the 700 in. They like it. It's a more reliable motor. And I know some of you are going to be freaking out. Oh, the 800 is great, but you know what? This is just going to be a great motor to put in this sled. And it runs awesome, you know. I know that. I know the history of my motor. I don't know the history of this one. Good time to get in here and look at all these parts and pieces that are screwed. Now, while I'm in here, I'm going to change out these bushings, top and bottom. There's a lot of play in there. Not liking that, so I'll swap those out. Easy fix while I'm in here. It's just the time to do it. There's just a metal sleeve inside this one up top. I'll replace those as well. They're about $7 from Bombardier. I'm going to have to shorten these tie rods up, but you got to make sure you do it from the right end because one of these sides is reverse threaded and I don't have a reverse tap. So I'm going to have to shorten up this end right here, but that'll come a little later on. I'm going to cut this sway bar off. Just keep in mind that if you're riding on trails, you got to have a sway bar, or you should have one, or else the sled's going to start to dip on the corners on the outside. I just want it off. Helps you side hill a little bit, and a little bit of extra weight gone. I generally take them off all my mod sleds. That's tight. Didn't need to be like that. But that's okay. We're putting the team tied secondary on here. Hopefully it'll fit. Off the ZX 700 mod. There we go. There we go. Do this so I know exactly what I need. There's 3 washers and this cup washer here. So I can look back on this footage and see what I need to put back on and then start to install the team aftermarket clutch. These don't have the traditional bolt on top type of motor mount that we're used to with the older sleds. These actually bolt through the side. That's your motor mount right there. So there's 2 on this side and 2 that are buried in there pretty deep on the other side. They're just Allen keys. Without that big screwdriver, I'm kind of lost. I'm at a loss. There we go. So I ran into a bit of an issue here. This bolt is seized up. The nut is seized on the A-arm bolt. So all I'm going to do is just weld this screw or this bolt onto it. And then I'm going to turn it out with the wrench. Just going to clamp off this pull start cord. I'll cut it up here. Going to tie a knot in it. That way it's nice and loose. This is pretty much a complete teardown. I got to pull this old chain case out of it. Going to put that new C3 Power Sports synchro drive in that I have in the ZX chassis. It should bolt right in. I have to make a few little changes. Ordered the parts online. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go over everything. Once I get this all stripped down, I'm going to tell you exactly what you need, what I'm using, and what I'm going to put on this sled. I'm just going to pop the cover off and drain it into this pan. Because we're not going to need chains and gear oil anymore. Here comes the mess. Oh yeah, there you go. Wow, it actually looks all right in there. Just back off the chain tensioner here a little bit. I'm going to pull everything apart, clean it all up. Somebody out there is going to be able to use this. I'm going to be able to recover some of my costs on buying this sled by parting out some of these pieces that are still good. So I want to make sure I look after this. There we go. Now before I can pop this chain case off, I got to loosen up the track tension. I'll loosen things up in there, pop the skid out, loosen the track up, then I can get this chain case backing plate off. Just to loosen up this skid, pretty easy, just like every other one. Just loosen up these rear bolts. Loosen that up. Since the tunnel on this is tweaked a little bit, this is sort of pinched in here. There we go. So that's as far as I've gotten in 3 hours. Okay, back on Monday, I'll finish this thing up. Get it torn apart. I'll show you the water removal technique to get that clutch sheave off. And we're going to pull that motor. So my cameraman had to bail on me, so I'm doing this all by myself now. Did about 3 hours worth of work on it. You can see where it is right now. Gonna come back here tomorrow morning, get back on it. So thanks for watching PowerModz. The Rev build starting to come together. Thanks for watching.